Yeah,
so
interesting.
So, gentlemen, that's what we were up to. Unfortunately, though, I just got off the 338 site, which has been fairly accurate. But here's the thing. I think there's a lot of silent majority that have come to the realization. I'm looking where it says a lot of the boomers are going to back Carney because life is a little good for them now. But what they're not realizing is the paperwork's already been drafted for a tax on the capital gains and the equity of their home. Like down here in Nova Scotia, if you bought a house 20 years ago and you paid $100,000 for it, that's worth anywhere from 500 to 900,000 now. You go to sell that house. When Carney gets in, they didn't spell it out exactly as that. What they called it was equity fairness. But I looked around with, if you look down those other areas around the world, equity fairness means you're going to be paying tax on the equity of the sale of your primary residence. And anybody that goes out to vote today and doesn't understand that, you are about to be robbed by the Carney Liberal government. But here's the worst thing of all, guys. Here's the big thing. We did a talk show on Saturday night with Jim Ferguson out of the UK, and it was called Freedom Train International. And we had Michelle Maisonneuve, retired lieutenant general. He's 3-star general, probably the highest ranking military man in Canada to speak out. And then we also had Michelle Junou Katsuya, who used to be the head of CSIS, Asia Pacific. And then we had another guy named Gary Clement. And Gary he had a 30-year career with the RCMP, and he finished out as the head of proceeds of crime for RCMP Canada. And all three of these guys were on a talk show. We had a chance to interview them. And all of them are of the exact same opinion that most of you gentlemen are. And that's if Carney gets in, because of the level of foreign interference and Chinese interference in this election, that Canada is done for. That's from the three highest people I've ever spoken to inside Canada. So you're looking at CSIS, ex-RCMP, and military, and all three of them are of the same consensus that the lack of leadership that we have right now across all political, it doesn't matter whether it's provincial or federal government, the lack of leadership is so catastrophic that we have a failure in policing, we have a failure in our court system, we have a failure in our provincial and federal government. You got to remember, guys, how many people have been perp walked out of Parliament for the amount of crime that's been committed in the last 10 years?
Ever. Zero.
Yes.
None. Zero.
So I got audited, guys, back in 2018. I filed a formal criminal code complaint with Ottawa RCMP for the Aga Khan affair on Trudeau. That one got me audited, and I've been shadow banned and screwed over ever since. CSIS did a full investigation on me, and RCMP did an investigation too. 6 weeks after we opened that investigation, Justin Trudeau appointed Brenda Lucki as a DEI hire to run the RCMP. And that open investigation got squashed. And then when the We Charity came along, because you got to realize, and any of your viewers need to realize, that there were so many scandals inside the Liberal government that you can't keep track of them. But I opened another formal complaint with Ottawa RCMP on the We Charity, and it was a Section 121 criminal code, straight up, 12 years in jail for what they did. And Brenda Lucki squashed that investigation as well, gentlemen. And then we opened another investigation when Justin Trudeau gave his hate speech rant against the truckers. You guys remember when he did that on Quebec radio station over the vax, and he called everybody misogynist and hateful and a whole bunch of stuff? Well, that was another.
You could forget.
And so that one, I thought that was great because he stepped in a trap of his own making with hate speech. RCMP Ottawa opened another criminal code investigation on him for that, and Brenda Lucki squashed that one as well. So at that point,
how come Canadians, and you're telling us, so how come Nova Scotians forgot all of this? Like, why? Like, that's the part that I'm confused about. Like, you brought up some great points, which we've been trying to hammer for the last 4 weeks. If you're a boomer who you have to make a choice between, your immediate future and your long-term future. If you're a boomer and you vote for Carney, you're shooting yourself in the foot because, like you said, the Liberals are so addicted to spending money that they're going to start looking at taxing your primary residence. We know they're going to do that. We know they're going to increase estate taxes beyond probate. We know they're going to, like, when they talk about things like, increasing the age that you have to transfer your RSP to a RIF. Yeah, that's a nothing burger. That just puts more money in the pockets of liberals because they're going to force you to accelerate this, stuff like that. So if you're a boomer listening to this, thinking of voting liberals, and you're putting this short-term concern of Trump ahead of your long-term concerns, you're making a big mistake, because Trump won't be in power for 3 more years, and then that's it. Actually, 2 years, and then he starts campaigning.
So I have to agree with all you gentlemen. Here's the biggest issue, guys, and the biggest issue to the four of us sitting here right now is we are going to be censored out of business. We're going to be gone if Carney gets in. They will shut us down. I'm 100% convinced of that. You have to remember that Bill 63 is designed specifically to shut up independent media. As a matter of fact, you're going to be able to be charged for thought crimes that you haven't committed yet. Right? I mean,
come get me. I'll be in Texas by then. I'll be reporting.
So here's what happens, guys. You've got to remember, in Maritimes, we don't have access to the same to the large numbers of different media. Like down here, basically people are either listening to CBC or CTV Atlantic and talk radio, and they're all bought and paid for shills for the federal Liberal government. Straight up, you cannot get a straight news story. Even down here, CTV Atlantic, they were on the verge of bankruptcy. That's our biggest TV station down here. They were on the verge of bankruptcy before Christmas, and not another peep since. And they are hard Carney right now, which I can't prove this one, but something tells me they got a bailout behind the scenes, and you can't turn on anything down here that's not 100% Carney's the savior. But we're about to get reamed hard. I'll give you an example, guys. Atlantic Canada, our fishing, our lobster industry and our seafood industry has been attacked by China with a 25% tariff. Not one person during this election has brought up the specter of a trade war with China. Everything is orange man bad, and fear works. So I'm watching people right now.
Here.
It's the same as canola in Alberta. Yeah, canola and what else has been tariffed to death by the Chinese.
And they
is there much of a market though for Canadian Atlantic seafood in China? I mean, there's
absolutely.
They're our second largest trading partner. Yep. Nova Scotia's second largest trading partner. That's why our premier hasn't said a peep. You guys need to know this, that down here, guys, in elections Nova Scotia, 2 of the top 3 positions are held by Chinese people. The CFO and the person who handles all the IT. And in our last provincial election, we had early ballot counting using digital equipment that was manufactured in China and bought by Elections Nova Scotia from the Chinese gentleman who heads up IT through a subsidiary of Dominion Voting in Florida. You can't make this stuff up.